himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
Say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Tanso Racing Group TRE6 series sponsored by TH Jordan. We are, well not live, pre-recorded again for the second time, this time round at the Oschersleben circuit, one of the newest additions into iRacing for the same format again. We're just in qualifying at the moment. We've got a 20-minute race coming up first of all, and then a 25-minute race with the top six reversed coming up in a few moments' time as well. Once again, it's myself, Ian Leary, and James Parfitt along with you for this second round of the season. Very much enjoyed the first round at Navarro. It was a bit of a trial by fire for us. Not really seen very much of that circuit, to be honest, beforehand, but it produced some good racing. And this circuit is going to be very, very different. It's narrower, it's smaller, and it may well feel a bit different, but hopefully the good racing is retained in the second round of this championship.
Yeah, it's one of these circuits that I think not everybody loves, and I think that's reflected by the fact that we've got sort of 16 cars, I think, out on track for this round. It is interesting, we could say, to say the least. You know, you've got the run up into turn one, the left-hander through Hotel, and, you know, it's just, for me, it's a meh circuit. You either love it or you hate it. It's like Marmite, really. Let's be real about it. And I'm not quite sure how this is going to go, but I think if it's anything to go by what we saw at Navarro, it could be for quite an interesting two races.
Yeah, let's hope so. We, as I say, are in qualifying at the moment, so while we're there, we'll just have a check-in with the standings, as meaningful or not as that is after just one round of the championship. But we're going to do it anyway, just before the session properly finishes forward into the first race. Ryan Dudley leading overall. He's the pro leader currently by 9 points over Scott McFall and Daniel Wareham. So it was those three really that dominated in pro first time round. In Pro-Am, Scott Brown is leading by 7 points ahead of Dan Forster. Peter Duke at 9 points back there in that class. And then in Am, the biggest of the three classes, we've got Michael Walters leading by just 1 point. It's the closest of the championships as well, followed by Adrian Hadfield, Stephen Parker Hamilton, who is in third place, and then the rest a bit further back than that, over 10 points back. So can't read too much into that, to be honest with you. It's only after the first round, but there aren't too many rounds in this series. We're finished at the start of September. That's when we go to the VIR full course. That's going to feel very different to this circuit indeed. And so that makes it a good 9 rounds from my calendar, and not the longest in the world either. So that's something to note. You're going to need to get off to a good start, and at the moment, we've certainly seen a good start in this qualifying session from John Johnson. It looks like there in that qualifying session. We're just getting the drivers gridded up now, and we will go through the grid as they do. Scott McFall is on the front for the pros, and it's pretty mixed, to be honest. The Pro-Am leader alongside with Scott Brown. Daniel Wareham is next. Ryan Dudley also sort of alongside him. So the pros are sort of in a line on one side, and then the Pro-Ams in a row on the other. Dan Forster and Rumine is the second and third drivers in Pro-Am, followed by Neil Kennedy. And then the Am leader in that qualifying session, Adrian Hadfield, Scott Bell and Terry Atkinson round out the top 10. Alan McCain and Shane Bellinger on row 6 ahead of John Johnson. Then Brett Thack, Anthony Jones and John Kenny rounding out the 16 on the grid. As you said, a little bit smaller numbers, but maybe that speaks to this circuit more than anything else.
Yeah, I don't think the circuit does help. I think at the end of the day, it's just one of them things. As I said earlier, you either love it or you hate it, and not everybody does like it. But yeah, Scott McFall sitting there waiting. We'll just wait for Adrian Hadfield to get on to the grid, the leader currently at the moment as well. But I think we could see some great battles. Let's hope we see some great battles here.
Let's hope so, as we go racing for round 2 of the Tanso Racing Group TR86 Series, sponsored by TH Jordan. The lights will be coming on very shortly, and there they go, off onto the first race. 20 minutes ahead of us here at Oschersleben as the drivers make their way down in towards turn 1 for the very first time. It's a real squeeze into here, of course. First couple of corners pretty fast, and then you slow down into the long right-hander, the long hairpin, if you like, at Hotel, and then they make their way into the middle of the circuit. Thankfully, a mostly clean start, although I can can see a couple of drivers, unfortunately, having already gone off the road down at turn number 2. And one, according to that track map, still trying to get going again. But for the leaders, a mostly clean start.
Yeah, they've got away really well at the moment. Scott Brown taking the lead out in front currently, with Dan Wareham sitting in second place and Scott McFall in third, with Dan Foster behind him in fourth. You can see Scott and Dan Wareham going side by side currently as they come round into the chicane section of this racetrack. So these guys battling it out side by side. Are they going to be able to make it through? Well, Scott does make it through, and Dan Wareham there sitting in third place.
You've got to be careful with stuff like that through the chicane, which is literally called chicane, by the way, as the corner names, or number, I should say, or name, whatever. So that's something to know. That was a real slowdown, though, I'm afraid, for Daniel Wareham. Don't know. I guess it must have been through that chicane he was just talking about there as they were going side by side. But he's dropped back very quickly indeed, like a stone, in fact. And so he moves to the back of the group. But it's Scott Brown, I believe, who has taken the lead ahead of the rest on this opening lap. And then Dan Forster. More at Navarra, to be honest, but even here at Oschersleben, it has been a case of lots of drivers getting single file here, getting settled in here early on, but they've got a relatively long race ahead of them, 20 minutes for them to figure this one out, and for the most part, try and get into the top 6, which will be so important for that second race.
Yeah, it will be as well, and it's going to be very difficult for some people who are having a little problem with the timing software at the moment. It seems to think that Alan McCain is out in first place when clearly he's not. He's off the side of the circuit as we talk to him there as well. So Alan McCain having a little bit of a side contact there, and unfortunately he goes round and drops down the order. So yeah, some tough running. But Alan McCain did have a great one in round 1, and unfortunately it doesn't look like he's going to have a great one in round 2.
Yeah, it's not been a good start, I'm afraid, on the front there. So we go back to the overall leaders. This is Scott McFall trying to get past Scott Brown, and you'd imagine McFall will be able to do it here because he is pro, and the others are Brown at the front anyway is a pro-am. On board we go with McFall. The slipstream so vital in this car as always, even without the long straights really that we actually have on this circuit. Timing screen is indeed sorting itself out now, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's sorted out. It's okay. So for the most part, anyway. So the pros are at least sorted out into where they should be. I think the primes are now too, and indeed the AMs. So we're all good now. We're all sorted. And we can start to look at this race, how it's meant to be looked at. Scott Brown's still leading. Not really sure how he got there, to be honest with you, but he's clearly made a great start. And as we saw in that first week, it's all about getting that launch off the line. It was almost more important than whether you were on the inside or the outside going towards turn number 1 at Navarra, which is crucial in many other series. That wasn't the talking point. It was just about getting off the line correctly.
Yeah, it was, and he absolutely flew off the line as well. He did an absolutely great job there and got away right at the beginning, but he has unfortunately got the pro of Scott McFall climbing all over the back of him as they're coming around the right-hander before they go through Stadion and straight down into the Shell S on the bottom there as well. And he just literally absolutely nailed it. But it was there was a one, I can't remember who it was actually, last week did exactly the same thing, I believe, as well. Got an absolute flying start and jumped out in front. So yeah, great. If you can get these cars off the line, absolutely amazing. Well, they need to really, don't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. As only towards the final corner goes Scott McFall. He's got a real gap here to those in the other pro cars. He's only 9 points behind Ryan Dudley at the start of the day. He'll gain a few of those back with this result here. So they make their way in towards turn 1 and 2 again. McCain and Jones going side by side through the final couple of corners as Alan McCain tries to make up some of those places that he lost through the opening laps and through that spin as well, which we saw very publicly indeed, making his way around. There is Ryan Dudley trying to chase down McFall. it's going to be so difficult for him to do that. It does look like the leaders in both Pro and Pro-Am are looking fairly comfortable because they've got cars in between them and their rivals. Not the case in Am, where there's only a second between Atkinson and Bell, and they are trailing one another. You can just see them in the background there. There they are indeed. And that makes it different to the battles in Pro and Pro-Am, where it's a bit more spread out.
Yeah, they've got cars in the middle, and these guys unfortunately haven't. Atkinson or Bell, they're both fighting out for the lead at the AMs. We've got obviously down here John Johnson and Adrian Hadfield are having a great little ding dong as well. Adrian is the lead car in front of him, sitting in 4th place at the moment. John behind him, they're trying to close him down as Adrian makes a little bit of a mistake. They're going to be running side by side now. Are they going to be able to make it through? They do, but Hatfield still manages to hold on to the lead as well. Great week last week, a second and a third for Adrian Hatfield, on one of the few people that actually podiumed both times in their class, and he did an absolutely stellar job. But he's got John Johnson for company now as well, while Scott McFall closes in to Scott Brown.
Yeah, absolutely. As there we go again. Forster indeed closing in here on them both as well as they reverse places. So over the line again, Scott McFall leading overall. It is notable, isn't it? And we saw this in the opening round as well. Very notable, I think, that the Pros and Pro-Ams, and to be fair, the Ams are not too far away either, but especially Pros and Pro-Ams are not actually that dissimilar in terms of their speed, especially at the front of the class. You can see here Scott McFall and Scott Brown, they're pretty close on speed. It is pretty obvious, I think, that McFall has the edge, but Brown's keeping up very admirably here. That was the case back at Navarra. We even got an Am into the top 6 in Navarra, and in and around that again now with Atkinson 7th at the moment. The gaps in terms of classes aren't very big at all.
No, they're closing up quite quickly. You can see down here later on with Anthony Jones, John Johnson, Ruminic's coming through as well. Hadfield's lost a couple of places. He made a mistake, did Hadfield. Ruminic tried to come through to Pro and Am, but he has got John Johnson and Anthony Jones in front of him, so that's going to be tough for him as well as he comes running down onto the chicane, which is the right-left halfway up this straight. Going to be tough for some of these guys as well. Currently, Kennedy is sitting in that top 6 place for the pole for race number 2, looking quite comfortable at this moment in time. One of the things I am going to do is, in the meantime, is give John Kenny a shout out. John messaged me during the week as well, just obviously he's one of the few disabled drivers that we've got here as well, and John is driving along quite happily, enjoying his racing, doesn't really care at all where he finishes. He's just happy to be out on the race circuit, so that's why John is there. As I say, he is one of the very few disabled drivers that are driving within iRacing, so great job for John there as well. But Scott has taken the lead out front over Scott Brown.
Absolutely. So there you go again. With 11 minutes to go, Scott McFall in the lead, and pretty comfortably so as well. Battle for second in Pro looking interesting here between Dudley and Wareham. There they are in the background. You can just see Wareham especially really dragging that car out wide through what will be turn 3, now into the triple left-hander. Just one of the more famous corners on this circuit. If you could give this track any famous particular sections, there aren't too many of them, but it's probably one of. As Wareham now trying to work his way through. I think we've seen the dangers already of going side by side through here. That's where I believe the slowdown would have been gained from, as Wareham gets very up close to the back of Dudley now. This will be a good chance. A long straight down here on the way in towards the Shell S at the end and into the final sector, but even at that distance, because of the short braking zone, still feels he's not quite close enough to actually make a move through here.
Yeah, it's not a sudden stop, is it? Let's be real about it, like a hairpin or something like that. So Dudley's going to be carrying speed. So, however, Wareham did get a nice run out there and just couldn't quite capitalise on that one coming into the final curve. But this is again where he's got to try and make that move if he can, the left-hander. But again, it's not a sharp braking zone. It's not a sudden stop for him to be able to send it up the inside. If he is going to do that, he's got to do it on a very, very, very big, brave level. So, is he going to be able to make it through? No, I don't think he is. And at the moment, they're very similar on pace here, Wareham. 38.1 for Wareham, 38.3 as he's going side by side.
Here we go, trying to make it work after a lap or so of probing here. has looked quicker, and he certainly does there, right round the outside on the way towards turn 3. And Daniel Wareham moves up into 4th position, but more importantly, 2nd in the pro class. So, an important bit of points gained there, but I think the interesting thing is going to be when they start this second race, they may well start in the reverse positions, and that could make things very interesting between them. I wonder whether Dudley is going to sort of give that up now, if you like, and try and lose that 5th position so he can try and get the pole for the second race, or whether, I'm thinking too deeply into these tactics, very possibly, but he's in 5th at the moment. If he can lose a position, then he'll start on pole for the second race without actually losing any points, because it's a Pro-Am right behind him, giving him a bit of a hard time on the way down the hill there. That was Neil Kennedy right down the inside, and Dudley out wide as well here, under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, Dudley having it up on 2 wheels there as well, going through the Shell S at the bottom. Surely Ryan Dudley wouldn't think tactically to get pole, would he? Surely not. That's not something you would do at all, is it?
I would, but I'm not driving, so it's not up to me. But yeah, it's something I would consider for sure. Just to give yourself that little bit of an extra sort of breathing room, really, and extra bit of something to increase your chances of winning the second race. But we'll see if that's what actually happens. Other close battles on the circuit, you see them on the left-hand side of your screen there. The closest one probably is towards the back between Anthony Jones and John Johnson here, 13th overall, but probably more importantly, 3rd in the class. So that is a pretty high position to be searching for here. Johnston in the opening round of the season was able to get into where is he now? I can't find him on the there he is, 7th place. I just can't read very well. 7th place in the AM standings, first of all, through the opening round of the season. Pretty similar for Anthony Jones, who was 8th. So these two were evenly matched last week. They're pretty evenly matched again here, it looks like, battling for 3rd in their class.
Yeah, they are at the moment. There's not a massive difference between lap time. 39.8 for John Johnson, 1:43.1 for Jones in front of him. Alan McCain has managed to battle his way back into the mix as well. He's got Scott Bell right behind him for the AM, and he's got Terry Atkinson, who has just overtaken Kennedy, who looks like he's just got a nice little slowdown for his trouble, and unfortunately has lost a few positions. He lost actually a position to Alan McCain and Terry Atkinson all in one go. So yeah, for Neil Kennedy, not good, because it's also taken him out of that top 6.
Yes, that's really damaging, actually, to drop out the top 6. But now we're going to have a real battle for 6th. I think Atkinson is in a wonderful place if you're an AM there, in the 6th position and holding on to it for the moment. Just how much is he going to try and defend, though? Because you've got the real toss-up here between, do I want pole and risking the pole for race 2 and risking getting caught up in an incident with someone not in my class, or do I try and hang on here? He's made that decision for himself here. And he's just about held onto the car. Very close to going for a spin entirely. Kennedy had to just weave to the left there to avoid him as well. Well, he's made the decision for himself there, I think, Terry Atkinson, by going off the road, and he does drop back to 8th place.
Yeah, that was it. Job decision made, wasn't it? You know what I mean? He didn't even... Well, he completely did it on his own. Got loose, lost positions to Neil Kennedy and Alan McCain. And McCain, after his fight, after his slide earlier, has got to be sort of there as well, because he's now in 6th place.
Sorry,
that's a back marker.
Kennedy, who's that in the background? It's Kenny, excuse me, John Kenny, who slows down right in front of the leaders there. And I think he was just trying to stay out of the way, but the others weren't expecting it at all. Atkinson now under real pressure from Bell, who's trying to take the AM lead away from him. Scott Bell on the outside going into the final couple of corners here and can't quite do it. Maybe a switch back into the final corner. Atkinson saw it coming. He went on the defensive into that last turn. But this has got very interesting now with a bit of lap traffic involved. And all of a sudden, Atkinson's gone from Dreamland in 6th place to under real pressure for his AM lead.
Yeah, he's got Bell right behind him currently as well, and that was just one thing with a back marker involved. Kennedy's just gone up the inside. He's retaken 8th place. That's put a car between Atkinson and Bell now in that AM battle. So Kennedy kind of doing Atkinson a favour. He's just got to make sure that he can obviously stay in front of him and not make any more mistakes. But that was definitely a close one with John Kenny there. And as you say, I think he was just trying to stay out of the way. I don't think he was trying to get involved whatsoever. He just wanted to stay out of the way, and unfortunately ended up getting himself involved in it. But Scott Bell are chasing down Kennedy now. We've also got Rummenigge as well with Brett Fake. Fake joined the series this week, so he's a new one straight into the Pro-Am, and he's got Rummenigge climbing all the way over the back end of him currently at the moment.
Yep, certainly has, and I think if I'm not mistaken, there was just an exchange of positions down here. Whether it was Rummenigge getting past Bellinger or whether it was Fake getting past Rummenigge, I'm not entirely sure, but there was definitely a change of position while we were watching that battle for 7th overall a few moments ago. Not many laps remaining here now, just 3.5 minutes left as Scott McFall makes his way over the line again. I think he's going to squeeze in 3 more laps here. Yeah, I think he is. So we're going to squeeze the absolute maximum out of this race, and Scott McFall absolutely has to, because he's still not really got rid of Scott Brown in the lead of Pro-Am.
Yeah, you just can't quite shake him off, can he? Scott is doing a great job. 37.91, 39.29 to McFall. So McFall did lose 2 seconds. I think he made a mistake, or he got himself a slowdown over that last lap, and that's allowed Brown to close in here. So whether or not Brown's going to look at making the move or protect the fact that he's leading the Pro-Ams currently at the moment by quite a while, by 3.1 over Dan Foster, is there any need to really go for the lead? You're going to be in 5th place going forward for race 2. So is there really need to push the situation any more than he is already?
Well, these are the debates he'll be having in his own head at the moment. I don't think he'll be driving. Well, he'll drive within himself, not rashly, but you know he will still be pushing. And I do just think he is quicker than the rest of the Pro-Am field. Don't forget, he'll only start this second race as things stand, just 1 position behind his closest rival in Pro-Am. Now, he will of course be closer to all the others. Kennedy will only be a couple of positions behind him on the start if things stay as they are. However, he will only have 1 person ahead of him, Scott Brown, if things stay as they are. It may not do though. Dudley's just gone off the road. Ryan Dudley at the Shell S, I think it was, and well, he's back on again without too much trouble, but and it may have even just been a brief moment out wide, but Dudley has retained 5th very comfortably to McCain, who has got into the top 6. I think that's the mark of success actually for Alan McCain in this race. He did have a lot of other classes to work through, and he has worked through them into the all-important 6th place.
Yeah, he's done a great job in his comeback, hasn't he, really? You know, maybe had an incident on lap 1 and has now managed to stay and battle his way back through into 6th place currently. So great job for McCain. I'm just watching this gap go up and down here for Brown and McFall, and it's been below half a second at one point, and now it's back out above half a second. I'm wondering if McFall's just managing the gap in general, just to be able to keep ahead of Brown. So yeah, it could be an interesting one as we go. I think they should get 1 more, or this is going to be really, really close.
Absolutely. Let's see. As Scott okay, it's okay. It's just Scott McFall having a quad or 2 internet problems, I think, there, which is not particularly comforting. I'm sure he will be aware of that as well. But there you go. Well, I'm nervous about it anyway. He might be too. Into the final lap then. Just over 30 seconds remaining. They are going to squeeze 1 more in, so it's going to be 13 laps this race, and then followed a little bit later, probably by 16 lap second race. But not sure yet. We've still got a 25-minute race ahead of us, with the top 6 reversed as we do in this championship. There's John Johnson still trying to find his way past Anthony Jones, and he's now been gifted it on a plate. So just as I was beginning to wonder whether Johnston would get that pass done at all, he's been given the place, really. Jones will be frustrated to have held Johnston back for so long and then make that mistake at the crucial moment.
Yeah, it's got to be upsetting, isn't it? It's right near the final lap as well, and he's just unfortunately made that mistake. You've still got Atkinson and Bell fighting out for the lead in the AMS. That is the group standards currently. McFall out in front, 7 seconds over Dudley, has got over Wareham, has got 3.8 over Dudley. Brown's out in front with 3.8 over Forster, and obviously we've got this Atkinson-Bell battle that's taking place currently at the moment down in the AMS. So we'll keep an eye on that. Scott McFall is coming into the chicane, the right-left currently. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corners to go. Scott McFall in race 1.
He's just got to basically not fall off the road here, and he'll be absolutely fine. Just 8 seconds to Daniel Wareham here in a pretty spread out pro field after 20 minutes of action in the opening race of round 2. There he is, Scott McFall, even stretching out the margin to Scott Brown, who's just easing off for his victory photograph of his own here. Into the final corner now for Scott McFall. And he is going to win race 1 of round 2 of the Tanso Racing Group GR86 Series, sponsored by TX Jordan. He slows down over the line and just about makes it ahead of Scott Brown, who I wonder whether slowed down himself as well. But there are the Pro and the Pro-Am winners. And here's the Am battle. Scott Bell looking to make it 3 Scots in 3 classes, winning in one day. Well, it's not quite going to happen, I don't think, because out the final corner, Terry Atkinson is going to win the AM class here at Oschersleben in race 1. He held off from a lot of pressure, not only from Bell during that race, but from others around him as well, as for a brief moment, he looked like he might even get a top 6.
Yeah, he did, until he made that mistake, and then unfortunately he lost places to Kennedy and McCain there, did Atkinson. Whether or not he thinks it's a bad thing he lost positions, I don't know, as Johnston comes over the line with Jones and Hadfield behind him. I think that's one of the things as an AM though, isn't it? Do you really want to be at the front of the field? You know, we were talking about Steve Parker Hamilton last week, and he basically just said he should have let Brown through at the line and been P7 for race 2. It probably would have stood him a lot more chance of just running his race from there. You know, unfortunately, I think he got a bunch of wheel spin off the line for race 2 as well, which didn't help him. But even he said he probably should have let him through there to go into that 7th place.
Maybe. We'll see how history looks back on that moment in a few moments' time. Scott McFall wins the race, though, overall by just 2 tenths in the end to Scott Brown. Dan Forster finishes 3rd ahead of Daniel Wareham, who finishes 2nd in Pro, followed by Ryan Dudley, who makes up the podium in Pro, and Alan McCain, who makes up the reversed grid. He'll be on pole for race 2. Neil Kennedy will be 3rd in Pro-Am, followed by the Am winners. Terry Atkinson ahead of Scott Bell. Brett Thack finished inside the top 10, and Sean Bellinger and Ruminate. Then it's John Johnson in 13th, ahead of Anthony Jones, Adrian Hadfield, and John Kenny finishing a couple of laps down there at the end. He didn't actually complete the last lap of the race. So that is the opening race complete, and now a couple of moments until we get the 25-minute second race underway. But that was a good start to proceedings. I think we are going to see maybe a more lively second race, though, maybe with a closer battle for the win in the end, and maybe it will be between 2 people in the same class, because while it's all well and good Scott McFall and Scott Brown battling for the win, they're not in the same class after all, and so their ambitions to actually win will surely be a little bit less than they otherwise would be.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Whenever you're a Pro-Am or a Pro and you're finding yourself in a position, the first thing you really want to do is finish it in first in your class. That's imperative regardless. You know, you don't want to be not finishing first if you can help it. Obviously, another thing is to try and beat a teammate, which is obviously what Dan Foster and Ryan Dudley are. So it could be really interesting to see how this top 6 pans out, I think. Scott Brown, I've got to be honest, is looking swift, and he's looking really quick. So see how he gets on. Obviously with McFall in there as well. We've also got Alan McCain's going to be starting on pole. Let's see how he does. Hopefully he can avoid any more lap 1 incidents, so he can go on and see his fight. Yeah, as I say, he had a poor one at Navarro. Let's hope he doesn't repeat that in race 2 here this week either. So 2 minute 50 of warm-up. Dan Foster's the only man out on the circuit currently doing anything. Me personally, getting a cup of tea, sitting down, chilling out for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be driving the wall either, to be honest. Although I wouldn't have a cup of tea. Probably go for a walk around or something. But, yeah.
You wouldn't have a cup of tea?
No. I've only about 2 cups of tea in my life. So,
coffee?
No, I don't know. But I don't need caffeine.
Water?
I'm pure adrenaline of every day.
Really?
Well, no, not quite true.
You didn't have a caffeine product at all after your weekend?
No.
Oh.
None at all. No.
I am shocked by that.
No, just don't do it really. So,
I don't think it's got a purpose. I think it's supposed to give you a little bit of energy boost, doesn't it? But I think when you drink,
I guess a can of Pepsi's got caffeine in it, has it?
I don't know. It's just bad for your teeth, isn't it? Fizzy drinks. That's what.
It is.
That's what my mum always told me as well. Too much fizzy is bad for your teeth. Along with if you look at the TV too long, you're going to get square eyes, which, as we know, is an old wives' tale.
I think there's a bit more truth to the teeth going wrong, but
I don't
think it's possible for eyes to go square. But anyway, maybe someone can prove me wrong. Oh dear, someone's doing donuts in the pit lane. Maybe that's a good way to spend your warm up. What's that?
Don't trying to track who that would be. Give me 2 seconds. Let me try and do some wonderful hunting out here. 315. Is that McCain doing donuts in the background?
No, it's 350. It might be Ryan Dudley, who's doing that.
Could.
He might have stopped by now.
Oh no, it's still going.
There we go.
Good old Dudley.
Fair enough. He's just come second in the class and thought, I'll do some
Why not?
donuts.
Oh, he's enjoying himself clearly. I don't know if it's
not
good.
going to be using those tyres for the race, but it's ruining the ones in warm-up.
You're doing it in the pit lane now.
To be fair, I'm surprised how well these cars can donut, considering they don't actually have very much power.
No, but they are real well, aren't they? There's a lot of grunt going through and not a lot of car either, so...
That's true, they're not very heavy.
No.
Sure. As you will have known if you were racing Nürburgring 24 hours in this car, which some of these guys may well have done, you very easily get flung by another class, as we found out, to some people's detriment throughout that race. So there you go. He's having some fun.
This is what car would not want to be doing a Nerd 24 in.
I think it'd be quite fun, but it's just a race of survival, to be honest. It's not really a race. It's just staying on the road. Although I guess the Nürburgring 24 hours in its entirety kind of is just a race of survival, isn't it, really? So nothing's really changed there.
No, it's not really a race, is it? Well, it is a race, but it's to see who can stay on...
Slow bicycle race.
Well, yeah, if you want to put it like that.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, let's be serious again, because we got the 25-minute feature race coming up now. As I said before, top 6 reversed from the results of the first 20-minute race that we just saw a few moments ago. And so Scott McFall, having won that opening race, will now drop to 6th place, just behind Scott Brown, who will move back as well. And then the rest will be as they are sort of moving forward, with Alan McCain on the front, as you can see, his red and grey machine on the left-hand side. I think that's everybody on the grid now.
One more, John Kenny.
I'm slightly fearing he won't be here for the race, actually, because he didn't finish the last lap of that first race, and there you go. So we are underway for race 2. Much more even start across the field, actually, than what we saw at Navarra, where some people just couldn't get the car off the line at all. Moving to the inside and outside every which way, looking for a way through is Scott Brown, although he backs off on the way towards the first couple of corners. It's a fast opening chicane, followed by a long right-handed hairpin, and the AM winner from the first race, Terry Atkinson's got around along with Scott Brown, who's now in the middle of the road, and he's been avoided miraculously by everyone.
Yeah, Scott Brown there as well, and then reverses to try and stay out of the way, which was the right thing to kind of try and do. But unfortunately, he got caught up with one of the arms. I think that might have been Anthony Jones, who just missed the front end of him there and did manage to hold on. But lucky enough, it's not good for Scott. That Pro-Am, obviously winner in race 1, is all the way down in 15th. He's got a nice little battle on his hands to try and get back through. But McCain out in front with Dudley, Wareham, Foster and McFall. They're your top 5 currently at this moment in time, with Rummenigge already 2 seconds back from the lead group. So it looks like Rummenigge and Kennedy have got their work cut out, with Brett Dake and Shane Bellinger all involved in that second group, and the front 5 here opening up 2 seconds already.
Yeah, and Forster, because he's involved within it as a Pro-Am, is in a real great place here already to maybe take a race win here in race 2. Scott Brown has got so much work to do, but it'll be so interesting to see him try and do it as Kennedy's off the road. Neil Kennedy going for a spin on the second part of the Shell S. He's going to drop right to the back after that one, I'm afraid, and we saw it in the background. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen it more in a way. It's a very difficult couple of corners, and it's very easy to spin into the inside wall.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Kennedy did. Here you can see McFall side by side at the moment with Foster. Foster's holding on to that row. Scott McFall could not have been any closer, even if he wanted to.
No, and went straight into the back of Forster there, the Pro-Am leader, who might be thinking, I just need to get out of here now and just tag along with the group. He won't want to lose the draft from the group, but I'm not saying he has to. You just let through McFall here and then maybe tag along to the back of him, and you can continue to get pulled away with this pro field while you're enjoying the gap that you've got over the rest of the Pro-Ams. Don't think he'll have to be worried about the likes of Scott Brown, because I don't think he's going to have enough time to work his way through the entire field, but it's going to be really helpful for him if he can stay in this front group and just keep benefiting from the slipstream, because they are going very quickly indeed. Scott Brown's off again here. Scott Brown is off again, and he's it's just after the triple left-hander. He's having an absolutely disastrous race too after winning race 1.
Yeah, but as you see, McFall's just cleared Forster up the inside there, going in to the Shell S's, the right-left, and McFall does go through. Foster's now really just got to stay on contact with him and then let him drag his way forward. I think for Scott Brown, is this the case now that we're trying to overdrive the situation that we've been in before? You know, overdriving the car, trying to get our places back, and that's what's causing the excess mistakes that we are making. He didn't put a foot wrong really in race number 1, but race number 2 just looks a bit of a rough start for him. Jumping back up front though, McCain, Dudley and Wareham now with McFall in tow as well.
Yep, it's a right old battle for the pro win here. In fact, the whole pro field is here, and Dudley's gone wide. He's opened the door for Daniel Wareham there, who's going to go through on the inside here, you would think, unless Dudley can stay alongside, and does so. Side by side through turn 3 they go, and just about make it through. Now Scott McFall is going to have no choice as to where to go here. He's just going to have to slow down and hope that Alan McCain doesn't get too far away as a result of this. Side by side as Wareham tries to go round the outside through the triple left-hander. That was special, and McFall followed through as well. He was forceful, but not over the line, I wouldn't say. Dudley pushed out wide, and McFall's to the inside of Wareham now too. He gets through, side by side through the chicane. They don't have much space to make it work, but they manage it. Wareham back to the inside now, McFall, and he's going to be pushed by Dudley, who's going to go through on the inside as the race 1 winner gets pushed back, and Freight Train now on the outside here on the way down the back straight. Here they go into the Shell S again. He's still on the inside, McFall. He just about backs out in time. He slides, he saves it, and all of a sudden McCain has a 1.5 second lead. Dan Forster doesn't know where to go. He was pretty much stuck behind the pros there. Instead of helping him, they've slowed him down, to be honest. But that was a special battle for about half a lap there. There was side by side, and Wareham comes out with second place.
Yeah, how he managed to come out with second place, I do not know, because McFall will almost look like he got a 2 for 1. But I can tell you one thing, Wareham can thank Dudley on that one for giving him a big old push down into the Shell S's as well. Just locked on his bumper and just pushed him all the way there, did Dudley. So he needs to go. Oh, there's a sprint.
Foster!
Foster's gone round.
Oh my goodness. Forster was in such a great position, and he's thrown it, I'm afraid. Rumine now leads the way by some distance as we've got side by side for second again. McFall is now trying to come through on Daniel Wareham, and he is looking strong. Can he go back to back here and win both races in one evening here at Oschersleben? Well, it's going to be difficult. He's on the outside now through the long right-hander before the chicane, and he needs to be careful of Dudley, who'll be looking up the inside too. And no, he doesn't have to be too careful. He can just slot into the middle there. So he gets away with that one. As McCain goes off in front of them just ever so slightly into the grass, he has to use this opportunity to get away.
Yeah, he's got a great opportunity now. He's got 1.8 seconds. McFall's looking up the inside of Wareham again. They're going to go side by side. Dudley's trying to follow. He's trying to follow the Wareham line, but McFall's just covering him off enough to stop him going in front or alongside him currently at the moment. And Dudley's trying everything in his power to try and get through. We've also got a wonderful battle down here with Atkinson, Brown, Kennedy and Jones. These guys going at it. Scott Brown, he's trying everything. He is full on overdriving as much as he possibly can to move himself up in that pro standings at the moment. He's doing a great job. But Wareham, again, side by side with McFall, again, how's it going to pan out for these guys?
Yep, it's side by side again here as Wareham is holding firm on the inside at turn 2. McFall may well get back through again here into turn 3. Nice play on the brakes using the very, very shallow banking that you've got on that corner, and he may well be through now. He is indeed. He's clear, in fact, by the triple left-hander and doesn't let Wareham get to the inside. Not quite. Just shut the door in time, did he? Sort of. Now he does, and he is through into second position. Good job from McFall. Now, though, what do they do here? Because with a bit of focus between these three, I think they could catch McCain with 17.5 minutes remaining, but at the moment they seem so focused on battling with one another, there's not enough focus on trying to get the win here, and at the moment McCain is benefiting from that.
Yeah, he's loving it, isn't he? He's got a 2-second gap at the moment while these guys continue to scrap. Dudley again just pushing Wareham along, trying to get him up to pace. He doesn't want to lose too much time, does Dudley, to McFall. They need to really hang on to the back of McFall as best as they possibly can and see if they can make their way forward. Brett Fake has got John Johnston involved in this little battle further down as well. This is 7th in overall. Johnston leading the AMs, but he has got Hatfield tucked up right behind him. So Johnston's going to have a mirror full of Hadfield here, so we'll have to see how this one can pan out and whether or not these guys stay together as well. Let's hope obviously there's no mistakes from these guys. Gap back up front, 1.6 seconds at the moment. Dan Wareham in behind McFall and Ryan Dudley in behind that as well, so they are closing on the leader, but whether or not it's going to be enough over the next 16 minutes. 1:37.9 for McCain, 1:37.6, and the fastest lap of the race for Scott McFall.
Yep, it's certainly coming down, that gap between first and second, and that's it could be an ominous sign as Scott McFall tries to go back-to-back here and win both races in one round. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead in AM has seen Johnston get past that here, as does Hatfield, as does Bell. So not sure what's happened to that, I'm afraid. As Daniel Wareham slows down, I think he may have a slow down, in fact, and he moves down to 6th place. That may well be the second time that's happened in 2 races to him.
Or did he let Dudley through?
It'd be a bit weird to do that, especially at that corner, I would say.
It depends if Dudley's faster, doesn't it? That's the thing. Dudley 37.8 last time out, Wareham 38.4. So Dudley was almost sort of 6 tenths quicker. So it's possible he may have let Dudley through to allow him to try and pull them back up. As for Scott Bell, he is still down here as well with Hadfield and Johnson. Not entirely sure what happened with Dake. Possibly that he got a slowdown because I'm not getting any off-track registered for him either. So Johnson has just lost the arms to Hadfield.
Yeah, he has. Hadfield driving the outside there through the penultimate corner, and Johnston loses the lead of the AM class. Goes a little bit wide into the final corner as well. Momentum will not be good onto this front straight, and just in behind him now Bell is going to try and get into second place again here. Finished second in the first race, did Scott Bell, as we got a side-by-side for the lead here. McFall trying to take 2 race wins here in both races. Round the outside through turn 3, he's given just about enough room from McCain, but no more than that, and he's going to have to go round the outside now through the triple left-hander. This is going to be tricky for him. Here we go. Can he manage it? Oh, there's maybe a bit of contact there. He certainly had to get on the brakes, and that's not normal for that left-hander there, I've got to say. So McFall and McCain may have made a bit of contact as they make their way now into the chicane. It could be all important as they make their way into the back straight again.
Yeah, these guys need to get a hurry on and make a decision about what they're going to do here, because Dudley and Wareham are going to use this to close in like absolutely anything, to be honest. Wareham needs to slot in behind Dudley and push him along like he did. McFall again looking to go up the inside into the Shell S, not doing it this time around either. The gap behind the 2 cars, 1.4, give or take, so they're not making the most of it. They need to be able to close in and get themselves involved in this battle, get it into a 4-car fight, and then they can really start going for it there as well. And it looked like one of them was going to go off. Wareham's pulled into the pits.
What's going on here? Dan Wareham is into the pit lane. Well, meanwhile, McCain went a little bit wide through the final corner there, by the way, and Scott McFall's alongside. That was no surprise. Here we go in towards turn number 1. Oh, there's contact. Scott McFall, the race 1 winner, into the gravel and hits the wall as well. Alan McCain hangs on to the lead, controversially, some may say, as Scott McFall ends up in the gravel and down to 3rd place.
Oh, did he turn in? That's going to be the question. We'll try and have a look at that a little bit at the end of the race here to see if we can find out what happened. But boy, oh boy, look at this in the meantime. Johnston, Hadfield, Bell, Fake, Brown and Kennedy all mixing it up for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, all involved here as well. So we'll have a look back at that McFall incident at the end. It looks like Wareham has also just gone off the side of the circuit for Dan Wareham, but it seems to be okay at the moment. I think he might be coming out the pit lane there, but Dan Foster is in 5th with Hadfield all behind. Look, the 4 cars behind that.
And there, look, Scott Brown round the outside of the hairpin here into 9th place. Well, not just yet, but more importantly, yeah, now he does, into the podium places of Pro-Am. Great recovery from him because of the incident he had earlier, of course, but now that he's in 3rd, I think that might be all that he gets from this race, as we see side by side for the lead in Am now. Johnston versus Hadfield again into the Shell S, and it's Hadfield who's round the outside and retains the lead.
Yeah, Hadfield went and got the job done there as well, and great job for him. He got past Johnston, and John now has got Scott Brown pressurising in behind. Fake and Kennedy having a side-by-side little ding-dong as they come round the final corner here. The gap up front, McCain, Dudley. Dudley's only half a second back. McCain was given a lifeline, and he's got to go and utilise it now as Kennedy and Fake are running side-by-side down into the left-hander. Fake slots in behind him here as well. But look at Dudley closing onto the back of McCain. McCain's going to have a tough 11 minutes.
Certainly is, but not like that. Oh dear, Dudley into the grass and sliding too, but he will recover from it. Dan Wareham's back in the pit lane again, by the way. I initially thought first time round was for the incident limit, and he had to take a drive-through. 17 is the limit, by the way, but he's in again here, and I can't explain this one.
No, I can't give you an answer on that one whatsoever, but Hadfield, Johnston, Scott Brown and Scott Bell, Kennedy as well, all in the mix for this. Don't forget, this is Hadfield, Johnston and Bell leading the AMs, with Brown from the Pro-Ams trying to get a hold of Forster, who is up a little bit further up the road. In fact, it's about 11 seconds up the road, so Scott Brown really not battling the guys around him. He's just trying to go through to try and make his way forward, but Johnston and Hadfield are having a right little ding-dong, and unfortunately Scott Brown can't go through anywhere.
Well, I think he will try and get involved if he can here, but it's quite difficult when they're side by side. Hadfield again defensive, this time on the inside line. A little bit of a narrow line from Johnston there, and Brown is going to have him on toast if he's not careful here. Round the outside through the penultimate corner. There we go, that will be pretty easily sorted, I think. Although it may take a run through the final corner as well. Oh no, late on the brakes from Johnston. You just tend to do that through the final corner, but it doesn't give him a very good run onto the front straight. Although Brown's wasn't very good either here, so they are pretty much locked together side by side. Brown will want to get this done quickly because Kennedy is coming up pretty quickly in the sort of yellowy, greeny looking car just in the background. There goes Brown though, right round the outside and through. Kennedy may well do the same, but that's really opened up the gap for Hadfield. Then again, he will probably have to let Brown through as well.
Yeah, possibly if he makes a sensible decision about it. Obviously would mean letting him through. Johnston pulls over, lets Kennedy through. He's now got Bell behind him. I can guarantee he's not going to be letting Bell through. But all the while he did that, he lost 2.2 seconds now over the leader. So at the moment, this is Alan McCain, and that is Ryan Dudley, and that is the recovering Scott McFall. So Scott again got himself into the action. This next 9 minutes, well, this could be absolutely toasty and on fire.
It certainly will be. Can Scott McFall go from, first of all, back at the pro field to start off with, starting in 6th position, coming all the way through to the front, then spinning out at turn number 1, into the gravel, scraping along the wall, get back on the circuit again, catch the 2 leaders again, and pass them again. Can he manage all that in 25 minutes? Well, he's got 8.5 to go to continue to try and do this. On the way in towards turn number 1, I have bad memories about this, but it wasn't with Dudley, so he may well have a bit more faith here. In towards turn 1 they go. He's on the inside again. History repeating itself maybe. For Scott McFall, there's contact again very nearly. Into turn 2 they go. He's got to be careful on the outside here that Dudley doesn't go straight into him, but Dudley keeps it tight to the inside, and fair play to him for that. He gives the room on the exit too. That allows Dudley to the inside here. McFall to the inside here for turn 3, and he should have the place as a result. Yes, he does. Getting through, and now he will set his sights on McCain at the front.
Wow. I'll tell you what, Scott McFall is driving like a man possessed here at the moment. There ain't many people that would go round, come back on the track, come back in and battle again for the lead, and still has got 7.5 minutes to get there. So a great little battle there. Pro-Ams also, Foster and Rummenigge, right, going at each other here as well for the lead of the Pro-Ams. So Pro is not done, Pro-Ams is not done. Well, these next 7 minutes, good luck with us trying to keep up here, because there's action all the way through, and even further back with Hadfield and Kennedy. They're battling for an overall position, of course, down in the 7th and the 8th at the moment. So, yeah, not done by any shape of the imagination.
Absolutely. So, this is going to be very interesting indeed. 2 leading battles, and I think the Am battle might well hot up again, to be honest with you, but Hadfield has actually done a very good job at letting through Brown and is about to with Kennedy, I think. So, let's see. Good run out the final corner again from McFall. Now, will he be brave enough to go for it at turn 1 and 2 again? Because surely the memories of a couple of laps ago are going to be very fresh in his mind, and he won't want to do it through there again. He's going to have plenty more opportunities. I believe there are still 5 laps to go, including the one they've just started.
Yeah, Alan McCain set a benchmark there for McFall and turned around and said to him, dude, it ain't going to happen. And McFall was like, I am not going for this again. There is no way I'm going to put myself in that danger. He tries the outside at the moment on the run down into the triple left-hander. McFall gets given room by McCain. How much room is McCain going to give him? No, going into the left-hander. They're going to go in now. McFall's going to try round the outside. McCain's going to have the inside all the way round. He drifts out in front of McFall at the moment and manages to hold on to the position as well as they're going on the run down into the chicane. But yes, 6 minutes to go. McCain, McFall and Dudley battling out for the overall and the pro lead.
Yeah, certainly. We go into the back straight again. This could be the crucial moment. This could be where McFall decides to make his attacks, because he might not want to at turn 1 and 2 again, but he will want to into the Shell S. Here we go, down the inside, and again! There's more contact between McCain and McFall. Now, was McFall too far over, not giving enough room, or was McCain turning in? Well, Dudley will be possibly the best judge of that, but he won't care either, because Ryan Dudley now leads ahead of McCain and then McFall, with the Pro-Am leaders bearing down on them quickly as well.
And what are the chances they come together again? And it looked like the same thing. One of McFall was either not left room, or he's come across the nose of McCain, and McCain's just put him round twice because he's just got nowhere to go. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one on that one to look out for.
Well, that is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Well, yeah. As you said earlier, we will have a look at these incidents, but at the end of the race. We can't do the mid-race while we're pre-recording, so we'll do them at the end of the race and at the end of the broadcast. We'll have another look at them because it's going to be very, very interesting indeed to see quite what went on there. As I say, the real question is going to be, did McFall not give enough room to McCain, or did McCain turn in on McFall? And they'll both have their own arguments to make there.
Well, they're back together again. Surely it's not going to be 3 out of 3, right?
Well,
they can't, can they?
Well,
oh,
they could.
my dear me, they are.
They're very much good. Side by side again, and there McCain, I think maybe letting McFall through here, maybe feeling a little bit like he's at fault for one or both of the incidents they've had so far today, and letting McFall through. Well, the damage is kind of done in a way, because there's no way that either of them could win the race from here, surely.
Well, they've got 3.7 at the moment, and he's got 3 minutes 40, and we've seen how quick McFall is here, so I really wouldn't put it past him from taking the victory at all, to be bluntly honest. Last time out, 39.0 for Dudley, 37.5 for McFall. Obviously that was involving what was going on at the front there. Foster and Rummenigge. Foster's now going up the inside. Is he going to be able to take that place away? Round the outside they go. Oh, Rummenigge just made it easy, and round, unfortunately, he went.
Yep, certainly did, and that may well settle the Pro-Am victory now for Forster, although I've said that before, and he and then he spun at turn 2. So let's hold off on that one just for the moment. Dudley, though, has stepped into the void perfectly here. He hasn't really made much of a loud noise so far in this race, I've got to say. He's been pretty quiet, considering the loudness that's been going on around him in the Pro class, with Wareham involved and then eventually having 2 trips down pit lane. McFall and McCain coming together twice. We've not mentioned Dudley very much, other than when he was doing donuts in the pit lane, but it's clearly given him the licence to break free now, and he's leading by 2.5 seconds with 2 laps to go when he gets to the line.
Yes. Do you know, I think about those liveliest things he did was have donuts in the pit lane during the warm-up. He's just been in the right place at the right time, hasn't he? And for him, he's just been there. People have been spinning out in front, and McFall and McCain having their own little things. Wareham obviously having his own problems as well. And Dudley's just said, thank you very much, I'll have some of that. And he's just out in front. But he's got 1.9 with 2 laps to go.
Absolutely. This gap's coming down quite quickly, isn't it? So I'm just doing the maths in my head about whether that's quickly enough. I guess maybe it is here. What, 1.5 seconds? Let's just see what last lap was. 1.5 seconds last time round. I wonder whether Dudley is beginning to just look in the mirrors a little bit too much here, and is losing time a little bit as a result, because that last lap was a second slower than his best lap so far today. And McFall, maybe he does have a chance to complete an unbelievable comeback.
Last lap time 38.7, 37.2, so 1.5 seconds. And he's 1.5 seconds back. Well, no, actually he's now less than that. Stay tuned. Stay tuned, I suppose, would be the word.
Yeah, or 2. It's on, that's for sure. Dudley really struggling, and there may be a reason for this, because is this race just going 1 lap longer than maybe he was expecting? Is he running out of fuel? Because this is abnormal, to be honest, for Ryan Dudley. Very abnormal indeed. With 30 seconds remaining, we are going to get a 16th lap here. Does he pull into the pit lane? No, he will carry on. He will make it on fuel, but how close is he? It's just 20 seconds remaining on the clock. He may have been thinking, I can take the checker flag and celebrate by now, but he's come a long way from that at the moment. There will be 1 lap to go. The white flag is now waving at these drivers, and as McFall looks to the outside through turns 1 and 2, he'll again switch back to the outside and then inside again through turn 2, and he won't get through for the moment, but Dudley under heaps and heaps of pressure now.
Yeah, he's got to try and hold on. He's got to try and hold on. McFall's going to try around the outside. Dudley's going to have the inside here. Dudley's going to open it up and cut McFall off. Stop him getting that run down that straight. Dudley's just got to position his car. He's got to pick a side down. McFall, take the inside. I would all the way around the left hand. And McFall's going to try and hang it around the outside. Is he going to be able to get it done again? Dudley's got to look, or again is McFall going to go round? Surely McFall's not going to take the lead. Final lap of the race. He's been round twice. He's at his moments, and he goes and takes the lead of the race.
Unbelievable. Scott McFall has had so many trials and tribulations today, but he has now taken the lead, and Dudley's hit the curb. Going onto the back straight, he's not got a very good run at all. He's flashing the lights out of desperation almost. Scott McFall looks like he's going to go back to back here at Oschersleben in the most remarkable circumstances. The two who topped the championship at the start of the day as a result of the better performances at Navarra have gone to battle again here, and Scott McFall has won out again. He won race 1. He's going to win race 2 of the Tanso Racing Group TR86 Series, sponsored by TH Jordan. It's Scott McFall in pro with the most remarkable comeback you've ever seen. Dan Forster will go over the line in Pro-Am to make the comeback of his own and finish first there, with Adrian Hadfield hanging on from everybody behind him to finish first in Am as well. An unbelievable second race, followed and ended with a last lap pass for the overall win.
That was just unbelievable. How he went round, how he literally just, I don't know. I have no idea how McFall did that one. That was just insane. But we can have a look at the results before we have a look back at some of the incidents. But there you go, there's the results for you.
Scott McFall wins rather unbelievably ahead of Ryan Dudley and Alan McCain, with Dan Forster, Ruminet and Kennedy the top 3 in Pro-Am. The top 3 in Am was Adrian Hatfield, Scott Bell and Terry Atkinson, with Brett Thack rounding out the top 10 overall. Scott Brown will be disappointed with 5th in Pro-Am after dominating in the first race. Shane Bellinger finishes at 12th overall ahead of John Johnson, Daniel Wareham, who pitted twice, Anthony Jones, who finished a lap down, and John Kenny, who didn't start the second race despite starting the first. So there was a lot to go out there, a lot of incidents to look back through as well. This is the first one on the way towards turns 1 and 2. Now then, McFall is quite far to the left there. I think that one is McCain just turning in a little bit too much there for me.
Yeah, and then he puts him round, doesn't he? And then this is the second one. Again, McFall, McCain.
I think this one could be a bit more subjective, actually. Well, or could it? I think that one's a bit more 50-50. For me, the first one is pretty obvious. The second one, maybe that's slightly on McCain again. It's not as bad as the first one, but I think McCain may well have a case to answer there in terms of both of those incidents.
It just looks like they get stuck together again, doesn't it? Just there, and then they're locked. Tough one.
I thought there was a patch recently that made that sort of contact not possible, but there you go. That's not true, clearly.
And I'm just trying to find what happened with Dan Wareham. Just comes out the pit lane.
I think it's a very narrow pit exit here, and I think he's just driven straight on.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yep. And then even the blend line is very narrow too. So got to be careful of that. But yeah, it's a horrible pit exit, I've got to say, and thankfully most of these drivers didn't need it. Well, I've got to say that first race very much was just a bit of a warm up, because the action we had in that second race was astonishing, really.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect somebody to go round twice, recover, take the win, and it's just like you're sitting there going, what have I just witnessed? Like, how did you just physically do that as a driver? But then, I suppose his 6KI rating might have something to do with that.
Maybe. I think he's just a very good driver.
He should be at 6K, mate. I'm nowhere near that.
No, same. So yeah, I'm about a quarter of that, probably not even that. So there you go. But congratulations to him. I think that's the main takeaway from this race. and from these opening couple of rounds as well. One more thing before we leave you, because we can't normally do this on broadcast, but we can tell you the championship standings after the rounds as well, even just as it's only just happened, because it's a pre-recorded broadcast, of course. Scott McFall is now the championship leader by 6 points ahead of Ryan Dudley. Daniel Wareham is at 17 back now. Alan McCain back in 4th, with Mark Brown and Lee Rylands, who weren't here today, a little bit further back, of course, in 5th and 6th. In Pro-Am, Dan Forster's now the leader by only a couple of points ahead of Scott Brown, who'll be disappointed with his second race, especially. Neil Kennedy will be third ahead of Rumine and Bellinger, and they are the only 5 who have competed in both rounds so far. In Am, we have got Adrian Hadfield leading by 6 points ahead of Terry Atkinson. Scott Bell in 3rd place ahead of Johnson Jones to round out the Johnson and Jones to round out the top 5. And that is all of the drivers who've been at all of the races so far. So, set up pretty nicely, to be honest, James. But you'd expect that after only a couple of rounds.
Yeah, I don't think these first 2 rounds are really going to shape the championship. I think by the time we get down to 4 and 5, maybe even 6 and 7, we will have a nice little battle on our hands and see how it goes on that one. Let's give a big shout out to our other sponsors within the series. Clark's at James Search and Social Media Advertising is one of the sponsors as well. You can go and check them out. And Revive, set new standards in mobile car care. You can go and also check them out on their website as well, which is obviously revive-uk.com, and go and have a look at that. And for Clark's at James, it's Clark's at James.com and as well. And then we've got TS Livery Designs. You can find them on Facebook, and go and have a look back and see if you can get yourself a wonderful livery there. They design some of the liveries within this league as well. And obviously don't forget our main sponsor, Mr. T.H. Jordan. Work ranges from single colour stationery and leaflets to full colour folders, annual reports and magazines. So you can go and check them out at www.thdltd.com. So there you go, that's the guys who bring and make this possible for us there, Mr. O'Leary.
Yeah, and a big thank you to them for that as well. That is just about it for us, though, tonight. It's been a pleasure to do this series all over again here, pre-recorded, of course, but thoroughly enjoyable nevertheless. I've been Neil Leary alongside James Parfitt until we see you in a week's time again for the 3rd round of the Tanso Racing Group GRE 6 Series, sponsored by TH Jordan. It's goodbye for now.
Jungle.